Thank you for joining the Once Changing the World, which is India's first future tech meets sustainability podcast. And today I'm delighted and honored to have with me Mr. Alexey Strygin, who is the Chief Digital Health Officer of Gero.ai, an AI drug discovery and a physics-enabled biotechnology company creating therapeutics against chronic diseases with a mission to slow down human aging, and Gerosense.ai, a digital biomarker for measuring biological age. So, Alexey, really appreciate you taking time and being part of the podcast. Why don't we start with a small, brief introduction, your background, and what got you interested in human longevity?
Thanks a lot for inviting me. I really appreciate, Eddie, the chance to be part of your podcast. So, what got interested me in longevity was actually something which is quite common for people in the industry, which was the lecture of Aubrey de Grey. It was already a little bit more than 10 years ago. And I didn't quite like the lecture at the time, but he has put an idea that human aging is actually something that we can decelerate, stop, or somehow affect by some intervention. So at the time we had initial data on animal models. Now we have a little bit more data for both animal models and humans, but the fact that you can do something with human aging was deeply inspiring for me, and I thought, yeah, that's an ambitious goal and a very worthwhile goal for humanity. And my background is actually not quite common for people there. I mean, usually people end up in biotechnology. They have been doing, biology from school years. They have like PhDs in specific deep topic in biology. I was completely not that way. I was an economist, but I didn't quite know what to do with my life, and I thought like you cannot really impact humanity with what economics offers. Most of the time, there are some applications where you can, but I thought with biotechnology and agent, that's where, and by this day, I think the most amount of impact we can do for our species is to extend our lifespans. And I decided to switch fields. I taught myself a lot of biology. Then I did master's degree in biotechnology. And then I've been working a lot in the field, so I kind of now get this feeling and understanding of the field, and I like to joke that like for 5 minutes I can pretend that I am a biologist. So if I stop saying something, people will think I'm a biologist. But if I continue, they will catch me. I'm good enough at understanding biology, and basically my career was in this place in between of biology and business, and basically I was helping business people to understand medicine and biology and what the companies are about, what problems do they solve, what is the actual technology. So probably one of my superpowers is to tell in a very, very simple language what is happening. And vice versa, I found myself helping biologists and doctors to set up their businesses, to run the financial modeling part, the business modeling part, and everything related to business part, because quite clearly most of these scientists, they both are very bad at it, and they don't want to do that. That's There are some people like Elon Musk, like polymaths, but they're quite rare on Earth. So most of the people want to do their own thing, and they want to pair with someone like me to do the business part.
Your journey has been really cool and exciting, starting from an economist to a master's degree in biotech. I'm sure that must be cool because I think, like you rightfully pointed out, scientists, researchers do not understand the economics of business. And you're there. I mean, who's not just, I mean, got a master's degree in biotech, but also economist. So that balance is, I think, can be very, very helpful for anyone. And you pointed out that human longevity, at one point in time, it was a moonshot, but it's no longer a moonshot because, there are various companies, startups, researchers in the world who have got various approaches, right from senolytics to addressing thymus shrinkage to stem cells to gene therapy and so on and so forth. A human longevity, whether you said, whether if you want to stop, reverse, or slow down aging, all of this seems possible because we are actually kind of trying to do it in animal models, and now we need to kind of replicate in human models. So it's something which is possible. I mean, what's the timelines?
Right.
We don't really know about. Would you like to talk about Gero.ai and also Gerosense.ai? Each of these companies, what was the vision that they were founded on, and what are the services solutions that they offer?
Yeah, sure. I will first comment on the first part of your question. Yeah, that's totally right. It felt like a moonshot 10 years ago when I joined the field, and I was part of Insilico Medicine at the time. It was my first company related to longevity. And they are now actually almost a unicorn already, so they made it. They switched a little bit from aging, but not far. So, and yeah, at that time when we were raising money, we were coming to biotech VCs, and they said like, look, there is no market for it right now. The science is probably plausible, but just understand, no pharma is interested in aging because there are no doctors that treat aging, and we don't have like a societal infrastructure to invest and then exit the companies like yours. The tech investors were a little bit more arrogant. They thought we were just a snake oil salespeople. They're like, aging, no, that isn't happening. Sorry. And actually, at that time, the only possible sources of investment were like a super angels or angels that just believed in the idea of how cool it would be if they can actually decelerate or stop aging. But now things completely changed. There are now about 10 or probably a little bit more funds that solely are dedicated to aging or longevity, just like specific venture funds. And there are, I have like a specific Excel spreadsheet where I track all other funds that have at least one investment in the company who is doing longevity, and there are more than 100 funds who have like some position there. So you're right. The industry is getting momentum. It's out of the cradle, but it is still a moonshot. Don't get me wrong. We still. I was just at the biggest conference on aging in Copenhagen just 2 months ago. And I was at another several conferences after that. The feeling is that the field is really improving, getting momentum, more money, more labs are opening, more people are joining the field, but we still don't have a comprehension about what aging actually is. scientists still they still struggle to define aging. So like every lab, like almost every lab, has a little own view on that. A lot of people focus on what's called hallmarks of aging. They basically are focusing just one aspect of aging, and they don't, which won't solve the problem as a whole. It's still good, but it's something, like on the grand scheme of things, it's something of a dead end. So, and now I'm transitioning to the second part of your question, is what Gero.ai is doing and what Gero.ai place in this whole industry is. So, in contrast to most other companies which are founded by biologists, Gero is founded by a physicist, Peter, who is a founder. He's been doing physics of complex systems. So he and the picture is the following. Most biologists approached problems from bottom to top. So they basically have like a very deep understanding of like several molecular mechanisms, and they like try to dig very deeply, and then to exploit this technology, but it's usually like some specific mechanism, some specific issue, and then they found a company based on that. Physicists, they usually approach problems top to bottom, so they model this system as simple as possible in that case. So what Gero.ai is doing now, and how it is different, Gero is trying to understand the actual process behind aging, the most common denominator, the actual what is actually happening, which leads to all these hallmarks of aging coming up in humans and animals. What is different, like why there are some animals that actually do not age, and why humans are not these animals. So yes, and I'm happy to announce that we just recently raised $6 million for that. And this year we announced collaboration with Pfizer, the leader in biotech field, and we actually are doing cancel out agent signal from the biological data they give us, such that they are able to better target fibrosis in their case. Like they will, like the thing is, diseases have agent component and pathological component, and we take out agent component of the disease, so they better understand the actual pathology. And this is kind of, in our opinion, it is a dead end as well. So like, you have to cure aging and not get all these diseases. So if you can stop aging, you'll just, you won't need to cure fibrosis or diabetes or like a plethora of any other disease. But in the case of pharma, and biotech, they have like these existing markets which they have to cater for. They don't look that long beyond the horizon. So that's what Gero does. And with regards to Gerosense, the part of company which I had, what we do is we measure aging, and this is like one of the holy grails of the industry, without which it is actually not possible to develop the actual interventions against aging, because to manage something, you have to measure it. And in our case, the measurement of aging is called biological age clocks. And there are several other companies who have all sorts of biological age clocks. But in our case, we have developed the clock based on data from smartphones. And our clocks, in comparison to other clocks, are the most affordable and the most scalable ones. So they are a little bit less precise than the golden standard DNA methylation clocks, but they are, thousands times cheaper. So they can really be used at scale, at the scale of municipalities, cities, or even countries, to see what sorts of general interventions are working, what sorts of public health policies are working, which part of the country or of the city is not healthy and is aging faster and needs more attention of public authorities. So it allows all the things, and is we already have clients. For instance, a company called Humanity app. They have more than 150,000 users. They're quite a big app in the UK and in the United States. They use our technology at backend to basically calculate of what they tell their clients what works and what doesn't work, and they also use it as a tool to calculate a health score and then show their clients every day. So yeah, that's in a nutshell of what we do at Gerosense and Gero.
Right. So what I'm hearing is that you have taken these large available data from Animal Bank, Biobank, these electronic medical records, and through which your transfer learning systems kind of understand the biological age of a human being, and basis on that, you will kind of get into interventions of how do you maybe find ways to slow, reverse, or stop aging.
Yes. So yeah, let me elaborate on that. Like, knowing the actual biological age will then allow for the following things. First, we can mine the data for the actual drugs that people take and see some irregularities there. And for instance, see that, like, let's say some drug makes biological age atypically lower or atypically larger, and that might be a possible target for aging. So we go there and study the mechanisms, and it might be a known mechanism or an unknown mechanism. And it might be either an accelerator of aging or decelerator of aging. So this is one source of the mechanism and better understanding. The other source is then you can see like what people are typically looking younger, and then you can go to the genetics of these people and see what sorts of gene variants they have, and look for therapeutic targets over there. Then you can look for the most common denominators and study it further. So that's the work which we are doing now to find the actual drugs that would decelerate aging and stop it.
Lovely. How cool is this? So you're also saying that, through the data, you also kind of decipher what drugs have effects on accelerating or decelerating aging. and then you can find out ways to possibly repurpose drugs, because the way which we are doing right now, there is rapamycin and metformin, which is already being used on
for a very
aging.
So we want to find something like this as well, and it might be a side effect, so which we might study, and if some drugs, they target several mechanisms, and that might be a mechanism that we don't know about. Like the interesting thing with metformin and rapamycin actually is that I know Nir Barzilai was on your podcast already. He is a big metformin fan, but the recent data suggests that metformin might not be that promising of a drug that it was. That's unfortunate, and it still might be a very good drug if you have definitely if you have diabetes or pre-diabetes or a metabolic syndrome. So when you already transition from being a healthy person to diabetes, that will be a drug that will provide your health and will extend life. But the question now is, does it work in otherwise healthy people? And the data is inconclusive, actually. Actually, it appeared that the famous study, which was published 10 years ago, when they took tens of thousands data samples from British pharmacies, it appeared they didn't do quite a good work of actually picking the data. So they did some leaps of faith there, and the effect power is actually not as strong as they claim if you like redo this test properly. And it was redone by several people, and other papers appeared where metformin was tried as an intervention, and unfortunately the effect was not as strong as we expected.
Right. So now you guys are sitting on a lot of data.
Yes.
And you earlier mentioned that you are also part of Insilico Medicine, Alex Zavaronkov. He's founded, and I think he was one of the leaders who started leveraging AI for drug discovery.
Yeah, he still is.
He is. So I mean, what is Gero.ai doing? Because there's a lot of data over here. I mean, besides these interventions of like slow, stop, or reverse aging, what are the other moonshots that you're going for with all of these data that you have?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think one moonshot is quite enough already. We'll try to deal with that. So no, we don't have any other moonshots per se. That's enough for us to try to understand aging further and develop drugs against it. But to do this incrementally, we do partner with biopharma companies, so like earn some cash along the way, like we did with Pfizer, and we now have a collaboration like that upcoming with another company, with another big pharma. Hopefully we will be able to announce it very soon. These collaborations don't directly drive us towards stopping aging, but it's like incrementally these are good. They tell our investors that we can do something that like our knowledge and technology is in demand by by the leaders in the field, and that's kind of an incremental step to get more funding for our main purpose, our main moonshot.
You have a lot of data. With all of these insights, what do you think could be the approach of possibly, going towards the moonshot of that stopping, reversing, or slowing down age? Are there any insights that you've got which you think could lead to that goal?
Yeah, I mean, I cannot really talk about the actual mechanisms that are in our pipeline right now because it's like a most closely guarded secret. But I can tell you what I think we as a society should do because it is really a moonshot. And yes, we said there are a number of companies doing that already. But to be honest, we need much, much more companies. I mean, if we take cancer field, so there are like 3 or 4 thousand startups in cancer just in the US, and it's probably an old data. And there are like several thousands more in the other countries. And with longevity, there are just like a little bit more than 100 companies. And some of these companies are doing supplements. So like they don't even develop the interventions. So the field is very tiny. It's still very tiny. And to do meaningful progress, we need like more funding, more people, and don't get me wrong, like every person helps, and we need we don't need just biologists. We need engineers. Like in our company, most people are not biologists. Most people are AI engineers or physicists. So like the most amount of work we do is working with data. So we need designers. We need doctors who who want to do not sick care, they want to do health care, they want to not repair human, they want to prevent human for getting sick. We need all sorts of people to transfer to the industry. Of course, investors, and we don't know actually how to tell about the industry. So I'll tell you an anecdote that now the industry is like mostly called longevity industry, but about 7 years ago it was called aging industry, or aging, or biogerontology, or something like that. But like we did a survey of usual people, and what appeared is that when they heard the word aging, they were thinking that we want to add 5 years of life to a 90-year-old who is bedridden, who is like suffering already, and we want to add additional 5 years of bed time to this 90-year-old. No, it's completely wrong. It's and the problem was with the actual framing of the industry, with how we were selling the industry. And at that time, we actually like rebranded it to longevity longevity biotechnology. But now it's also getting a little bit diluted. There are basically many lifestyle companies call themselves like longevity, and what's like the company who is advising you to to do some supplements, do yoga, is longevity company. And a radical biotechnology company who is doing epigenetic interventions in aging is also a longevity biotechnology company. So like and still public needs to be educated on that, because the main message is that and I said it already, that if we decelerate or stop aging, we postpone or actually stop most of the diseases from happening. This is the most important message from the industry, and people don't get it. Like most people don't understand this message, and they don't know it. Most people don't even know that aging is something that we can do something about. So that we can target aging, that we can decelerate it. So they just learn early in life that aging is inevitable, it happens to everyone, and we have to re-teach them that it's actually plausible to do something with it. So yeah, I think like this, the actual messaging part is very important, and that's why I'm going to your podcast, like to the conferences and to other podcasts. Is I try to deliver these messages, and like just supplement what I said with numbers. About 80% of the diseases have aging component. So aging is either a root cause or a very big contributor to this disease. 80% of the diseases. So we can get rid of 4 out of 5 diseases just by deciphering and stopping aging. So, and like our world spends about 10% of its GDP on healthcare. It's a huge amount of money. And I mean, like, if our industry would get, just like 1% of this, or just 1%, that would be a huge impact, much larger impact than like any individual disease.
We are at the cusp of such a fantastic point in time. But yes, the main thing is that people need to understand that uh, aging is the harbinger of all diseases.
Yes.
And if we control aging, then we control possibly all the diseases that age kind of brings. And like you rightfully pointed out, that the aged population, I mean, there's a massive amount that's going out in the healthcare, and that could be completely I mean, we could avoid it if we find a solution for human longevity.
Yes.
You are part of Insilico Medicine, and AI drug discovery is like become like a very, very cool thing. Would you like to talk about AI drug discovery, and if there's any works that you're doing at Gero.ai in AI drug discovery?
There are 2 general directions where AI is applied in drug discovery. I think one is way more important and has way more impact than the other. The more impactful use of the AI is, in my opinion, in target discovery, is in actual deciphering of the disease mechanisms in case of Gero aging mechanisms, because there is so much data that humans cannot really comprehend their heads on, and it's much better done with AI. The second application of AI in drug discovery is generating molecules, generating interventions. So this is usually where generative adversarial networks are applied. They like one of the technologies behind LLMs, actually. But I think this is a little bit less of an importance. It is useful in some cases, but like doing interventions in a brute force way it has become actually quite cheap. So you can do like a mass screen of interventions relatively cheaply, and AI will sometimes, and when you do a brute force mass screening in biological systems, you're already, you know, a step ahead of AI, because AI predicts something like properties of molecules in silico, and let's say it gives you 10 candidates. And then you go and screen these 10 candidates in cells or in mice, and it appears that, you know, in 7 cases out of 10, the AI was wrong. But like with mass screening, you just skip this step and you already have like the actual signal. So this second application of AI is still cool, and it accelerates the drug discovery process. But I think the target discovery part is where AI is imperative and the game changer.
Right. Alexey, really appreciate you taking time and being part of the podcast. What comes next for you? What comes next for Gero.ai? What comes next for Gerosense.ai? And when do you think, realistically, we would be having possibly pills or some interventions which could lead us to that holy grail of human longevity, whether we get to like stop, slow, or reverse aging?
Yeah, I will start with the end of your question. And the answer is I hate doing predictions, because it kind of gets you in the position where you're sitting on the couch and just like waiting for the exciting future to happen. It doesn't work that way. We need every person. We need, like, you know, the innovations, they go, they can, like the bifurcation point can happen because of just one individual, like take Elon Musk and space exploration. Just, you know, if it weren't for Elon Musk, who would, you know, be 10-15 years behind in space exploration. And with longevity is the same. The you know, the amount of resources right now, as I said, is too small. So we need not think that it will sometimes come, but we think we need to actively working for it to come. And like I cannot stress this enough. Like you know, just telling your children that it is a possibility, telling like students that it's a possibility, and like one, if you can persuade 1 or 2 people to switch their careers towards aging, that might be a decisive point. That might be something that will accelerate the industry for like 5 or 10 years. So yeah, instead of prediction, I am giving a call to action. So switch your careers to the field, or at least help us. You can, you know, just, you know, by being interested in that, you know, telling other people, you can give money to foundations that are doing longevity research. There are DAOs like Vita DAOs, so you can do crypto investments that will accelerate the longevity research. So yeah, take action. Don't just wait for exciting future to happen, because it might as well not happen. And like, yeah, what's next for Gerosense? We are finally almost finished with our Android app, and we will be releasing it probably next month or so. So please, yeah, please wait for it. Go to Gerosense.ai and yeah, wait for it. We will be redoing our iOS app, and yeah, these apps are free. We just use the data we collect for research purposes, but the technology behind it we provide for health tech companies and insurance companies. So yeah, if you're working in these companies and want to provide exciting and engaging metrics to your users, or to develop your recommendation engines, we are happy to collaborate. We're happy to collaborate with academia as well. So yeah, please send emails or contact me in any way convenient. Yeah, and for Gero, we are continuing to dig deep in aging and understanding what's happening out there. As I said, hopefully we will release the news of the next collaboration with another big pharma. We will need a lot more money. We will be raising next rounds quite soon. Drug discovery is expensive. You need a lot of money to test. Like when you switch to late preclinical and clinical development, the amount of money you need is enormous. So we will be raising the new rounds quite soon. So yeah, please be on the lookout for that. The best way probably to follow both companies, both entities in LinkedIn, where we keep our followers updated on what's happening.
Lovely, Alexey. Really,
or Twitter.
Perfect. Alexey, really appreciate you taking time and being part of the podcast. I'm going to leave down all the links below, your personal as well as your company's link. And you rightfully pointed out, I think, rather than just waiting for it, you need to be part of the future.
Yes.
Help build and create the future rather than wait for the future. So I would urge my listeners to take action, play a role in supporting, spreading the words. And you mentioned, the resources are less, and I hope that more investors kind of come together, because this is a huge problem. If we can stop or reverse aging, we can stop all diseases. And you pointed out in the course of the conversation that nations spend huge amount of GDP on the healthcare of these aged population, and that could be controlled. So more power to you and Gerosense.ai, and look forward to the Android as well as the iOS application. And really appreciate you taking time and being part of the podcast. And to my listeners, if you like what you see in here, then please press the subscribe button. Until next time, see you guys. Bye-bye. Thank you. Really appreciate this.
Yeah, thank you.